Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Joffy Noodle Legs here again today. Today I've got an unboxing. This is from a dear friend of mine, Russell from RS Designs. He's gifted me a spider, which I'm extremely grateful for. What an awesome chap, eh? He told me he's got a couple of these, and I've been umming and ahhing about getting one of these for a while. But I've taken the plunge and I said, yeah, okay, I would love one. So he offered me one of his. So he just sorted it all out for me. I've just sent him the postage money, and he sent me over this spider because he had two. So we won't waste any time. We'll get into the box. It's got one of Russell's stickers on it. So that's cool. So we're going to try and get into the box. Yeah, so this is he had two of these, and he said, I'll hold on to it, Joff, until you're ready for it, mate. Because hey, I've been umming and ahhing. There's Sullivan. There he is. I know you will come for him. And then I just thought, well, I'll take the plunge and go for it. This is an old world spider. Just try and get into the box here. Got to be very careful because you never know with the Royal Mail, do you? You know, it is. I've heard nightmare stories of some parcels turning up and the actual animals loose in the box. So, but here we go. So, right, got some bubble wrap. Thanks, mate. Bubble wrap, that'd be useful. And the baby is in here. Okay. And this is an OBT. Okay, this is OBT. He's already got a name. His name is Walter. The OBT. No, yeah, Walter. He's named after Russell's beautiful Dachshund dog. As I love Walter so much, and I thought, well, this is from Russell. What a more perfect name could I get for it? So I went for the name of Walter. So this is Walter, the OBT. All right. So I'd like to thank Russell very much for this amazing gift, mate. I cannot thank you enough. I've been absolutely so lucky over the last sort of few months with my new sort of like friends I've made in the hobby. I've received 4 gifts now from people. Obviously, you know, I've got some from Mark the Spider Guy and some from Stefan, and now I've got one from Russell. So I can't thank you enough, mate. Please go and check out Russell's channel, RS Designs 90, if you've not followed him before. I'll put a link in the description. So please give him a subscription, please, guys. I really much appreciate it. So this is the OBT. Now, I'm shaking already. So the OBT is the orange baboon tarantula. It is an old world spider. I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce the the actual name for the spider, the Latin name, because I'm just rubbish at it and I'll just murder it. So we'll stick with OBT. Okay, yeah, so this is an old world terrestrial spider. It's terrestrial, but it has semi-arboreal tendencies, a bit like the GBB. So when you're housing this, you house it like the GBB. So you do the same sort of setup that. So you give it the option of a terrestrial, but you give it quite a bit more height because it does like to climb. They are heavy webbers like the GBB. So this is, if you like, the old world version of the GBB in a way, except they're a lot more feistier than the GBB. So these are an old world species. They come from Africa. They do not possess any herticating hairs, but they do possess a significant, medically significant venom, and they do possess an attitude a lot of the time. Not always, but again, down to a lot of people saying they have a few issues with the OBT, and a lot of people say it's one of the nightmare species, but I think that's just down to maybe your poor husbandry rather than the actual spider. So I think if the spider's husbandry is right, then there's no reason why the spider's going to be that way. Because most of these old world spiders are actually quite a shy species, and they will rather run and hide than anything else. Because you've got to remember, if they're being defensive, they're defending their home. That's all. Just like you would defend your own home, wouldn't you? If someone broke into your home or put your home at risk, you would defend it, right? So that's all the spiders are doing. And these ones are not afraid to defend themselves. So, but yeah, so that's the little bit on the OBT. So what we need to do now, guys, is do the setup for the little one, and we'll see how that goes. So let's do that now, shall we? Right then, guys, so here we are. Here's the enclosure I'm going to use. This is a little bit like a Komodo. It's made by Reptile Zoo. It's a 20 by 20 by 30. So I'm going to be setting the Walter up as a semi-arboreal, because I do know that the OBT does like to web up, and it does also like to climb as well as be on the ground. So I'm going to give it quite a bit of things for it to climb. So first of all, let's put some substrate in there. I'm going to be using the Spider Life substrate. So I'm also going to give it an option to a nice sort of depth, not too deep, but I'm going to give it a nice bit of depth, just in case it also wants to burrow. You know, give your spider every option possible that you possibly can. So I'm giving it a nice deep sort of substrate. Spread that down a bit. And there we go. Not it too deep. They're not really renowned for burrowing, but I think given the opportunity, it will. So let's give it a little nice bit of substrate. I do like Spider Life. When you get this, guys, this on this side, there's just a bit of condensation, obviously because it's the sort of dampness of the substrate hitting the air, creating the sort of dampness. I think that's a nice bit of substrate. So I've got a few decorations, so I'm going to play around with it. Got this lovely Buddha head, which I'm going to try and sink in to the substrate. I think that'll look pretty cool in there, and it'll give it something really nice to climb. Got a piece of bark, which I'm going to try and wedge down in there, so it can go behind it if it wants to. Let's give it a tiny little hide. If it does want to use a hide, it's also got the option of a small hide, which we will create with our finger. It's got quite a bit of things to web up with. Let's pop a little bit of just a bit of substrate on top of that hide. I want to try and wedge that bit of wood if I can, so it doesn't move. That's better. Right, what else do I have here? Need to find one of my little water bowls. Give me a second, guys. As you know, Joffrey Noodle Pie, very disorganised. Yes, very disorganised. And can't find a little water bowl, which I will have somewhere. I've got quite a few of the sort of the tops, milk bottle tops and stuff, which I will pop in there. I was thinking about putting a bit of green in there. Not a lot, but it'll just give it something to web. So let me have a little look. Let's see if I can break off a bit of this greenery in here, and let's see if we can bring this down here. I'd like to try, let me get me tongs and see if I can push that right down here. If I can get that to go behind here. We'll put this in first, guys. Trying to get past Buddha's here. There we go. That's quite nice. Got a bit of greenery there. So what I'll do, I'll leave a little space for a little water bowl to go there. Which I will see if I can grab one somewhere. Let's have a quick look, guys. Well, I can't put my hands on one, but you can sort of see the setup there. So let's bring you over so you can have a little look. So as you can see, it's got plenty of space to sort of climb if it wants to climb. It can build itself a little home behind the back here. It does have the space to do that. Down there. It can build itself something in between there. It's got a lot of coverage there, and it's even got a little hide just there. The hide's just down there, just in there. The water bowl will sit here. I'm not going to put a big one in, it'll just be the traditional sort of bottle top, because that's all it kind of requires, to be honest. Just putting my hands on one. I've got quite a few downstairs at the moment. So I think that's quite a good setup. The reason I chose this enclosure is because of the lid. It's got it's very similar to the Komodo, but what I like about the lid is it's also got like a little feeding hatch, so I can just lift that out and drop the food in there. I can spray with the water into the water bowl down there, so I've not got to keep disturbing the spider by removing the lid every time. So I think that's a nice little setup for the spider. What do you guys think? It's got plenty of space to walk around, see? It's got ground space, it's got climbing space, and it's got lots of a huge piece of bark. It's very thick, the piece of bark. Let's take that off. You can see how thick that piece of bark. So if it wants to sit on the top there, it can. These have 0 sharp edges, it's nice and soft, so it's not going to harm it anything. Anyway guys, what we've got to do now is move the baby in. So let's do that now, shall we? So here we are, here's the setup. I think it looks really nice. I do like these enclosures, and I say I really like this one for this species just because of that little feeding hatch, which I think is going to be a great addition. And also, like I said, if I place the water bowl, which I have there, I can fill the water up through that little hole there. So I'll show you what I mean. So if I've got this in here, so I've not got, because if this the spider is a little bit defensive, I've not got to keep taking the lid off. So if I just open this little hole there, I can put the water in and fill the water bowl up like that and drop the food in, because these are quite a fast species. This one I believe is a sort of overgrown kind of sling size. So what we need to do is get this little baby in. So this is the bit that obviously I'm more worried about than anything else. So what we're going to need to do is try and find a way how to do this. So what I'm probably going to do is bring you guys down closer. So hopefully we won't get any runners. We'll have a little look. I'll try and keep you guys in view as much as I possibly can. I might turn this around, guys. Simple reason being I'm left-handed, and this way I can maybe put this in here, loosen the lid, and then the spider has got less places to run out. So what I'm going to have to do is loosen the lid first. So I'm going to do that first. This is a nice screw lid, so that's really cool. He's packaged it really well. I'm keeping that lid on, guys, until I've actually got this into the container here. Right. Then I'm going to very gently sort of lift the lid away if I can, because I don't know if the spider's attempted to go out of the paper. I don't know. So that didn't work, Joff. So we're going to have to be very careful and just do that. Okay. So these are very fast, very, very quick. I'm very nervous, to be honest. I don't know if it's wrapped in the tissue or there's just tissue on the top. So I'm just taking the lid off the top there. That was damp. Again, I'm going to have to go in. Let me see if I've got something to hold this still with. Try and lift this up. I'm trying to do this very gently without disturbing the spider too much. I think it's in the actual tissue, so I'm going to have to be very, very careful, Joff, and lift out the whole tissue, I think. Okay, so the tissue's out. Right, let's have a little look, see how we can do this. I'm going to turn it around for you guys a bit. Sorry if you're not going to see much here at the moment, but I want to do this very carefully. I don't want to harm the spider, and I don't want to harm myself. So, just trying to open this tissue. It's very well wrapped up, so I'm going to try. I'm trying to do it, guys, through that little hatch on the top. So I'm not going to have to put my hands near the spider. I saw it, I think I saw it. Just let me have a little look at it, make sure it's not in this tissue. Nope, it's not in that tissue. So I'm going to remove that tissue out of there. Just double check there's no spider in that tissue. So it's going to be in here. Right, here we go, even more wrapped up now. So we've got to be very careful, because we do not want to be putting our hands anywhere near the spider, to be honest. I certainly don't want to be. So standing that up as much as I can, just to see if I can prise this open a bit, or grab the end. If I can find the end, I can roll it down. You must excuse me, guys, because I'm keeping the lid on the actual enclosure, because I do not want the spider to do a runner. And I've got two implements here to try and get it out, which isn't really paying off. So I'm going to have to think this out a bit more and possibly open the lid slightly. Didn't want to do it this way, but I just need to get this tissue open. I'll get the tissue open, we can see the little spider. That'll be a great thing, which kind of have done now. So again, going to close this up. Sorry guys if you're not really seeing anything, but there's not really a lot I can do about that. Like I said, I've got to think of the safety of the spider and myself. So we're going to try and open this Well packaged, Russell. Oh, mate. Yeah. With these sort of spiders, when you're doing your tissues, try not to roll them in them if you can. I always find putting them into a container and then opening, and then just sort of like putting the see, I can see the spider, but I can't get it out. Oh, it's of the tissue, doesn't want to come out, and I do not want to take the risk. Yeah, don't roll them in tissues, guys. Put them in the container and put tissue on top. It's probably the best thing, rather than rolling them in tissue, because these are quite a fast spider. Yeah, this isn't working, so please bear with me, guys. So while I'm trying to get the spider out of here, I was kind of hoping it would have just sort of thought, okay, I'll wander out. So what I'm going to have to do is turn this around again. Right, I'm going to go in this way, turn this around, so if it does bolt, it bolts upwards, and it's going to go into the tissue. There he goes. It is in there. I can quickly remove the tissue. Oh, there we go. He's running around like the Olympics. So he's in there. Don't know if you can see him or her. Let me try and zoom in slightly. You can see it's on the plant there. So there we go. I mean, oh, so sorry. A proper noodle legs there, of course. Always drop me phone. So and the other two are tiny. This one's quite a good size actually compared to the other ones. But yeah, it looks beautiful. Yeah, so a lot of that was just me being nervous as well. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm just going to pick the camera up and make myself comfortable. I'm going to sit down next to the enclosure just so I can see the spider and you can see it. And I'll sit next to Sullivan. Oh, hello, mate. Can let Daddy sit down there? I like to sit down once I've done my little unboxings. Yes. So if we can try and move the little enclosure around, and we can try and see the spider. There he is. Let me just pop that up there. There we go. I believe Russell says I think when he was chasing it around to box it up, he said that he found a molt, so it's malted out, and it does look glorious. The oranges do sort of pop, doesn't it? I wonder if I can make the room a bit darker. Maybe. There we go. That makes it pop. That's the sunlight, you see, just sort of glaring on it. Didn't see the colours very well. Yeah, and it does. It looks beautiful. Beautiful little spider. To me, it's more of a very young juvenile than a sling. It's bigger than my H polka peas that I got from Portsmouth tarantulas that was supposed to have been a juvenile but was just an under an inch sling. This is a really good size, absolutely beautiful, absolutely made up with it. Thank you very much, Russell. This is going to take star position on my little coffee table here in the spider room by me, so I can watch him and see him. As you can see, it's got a lovely little environment. It's got a nice hide there. It'll probably take a few days to settle in. It looks like it does need a good feed. Abdomen's a little bit on the small side, but if it has, which Russell says it's malted out, that's normal. It's, it's not too bad. Not too bad, but it does need a couple of feeds. So I will let it settle in for a day or two. As you can see how quick that was. It moves so quick. That this is why I love this enclosure with that little trapdoor on the top, so I can put food in without having to disturb it every time. It's got a nice little bit of floor space. This will probably need rehousing one more time when it gets a bit older, but who knows? I mean, these tend to grow. They can grow up to about 6 inches in their sort of legs with the leg span, but most of the time I've been told they tend to grow between 4.5 to 5 inches. So if it only gets to that size, this enclosure would be quite good for it and perfect for it. So we'll wait and see. But if I feel it's outgrown it, I will obviously rehouse it to a 30 by 30 by 30. Because at the moment it's in a 20 by 20 by 30. So I've given it like an arboreal enclosure. But I've set it up with everything taken into consideration. If it wants to burrow, it can burrow down. It's got a nice deep substrate. If it wants to hide like a terrestrial, it can in the hide there. If it wants to be semi-arboreal and sit on top of the Buddha, or that, it can do that. That cork bark is so thick it can sit on top of it, and it's got lots of anchor points to web up. So yeah, so there you go. There's Walter, all settled in his little home there. Beautiful little spider. Absolutely beautiful. Thanks, mate. Thank you very much. I am extremely grateful for this beautiful spider, mate. I love it. Just take a little photos there for it, because on my phone there's a little photo thing. So I'm going to try and just focus, and there we go. Right, so there we go. So there's my OBT. Who would have guessed it, eh? Noodle legs with an OBT, eh? It was one of the spiders I thought, no, I'm never going to have one of them, just because of all the nightmare stories you hear about them. But then I listen and see people say, don't listen to that. They're like every other spider. They will rather run and hide, but they're not afraid to defend their ground if they feel threatened. So their husbandry is important with these. If you give them a good husbandry, so they've got plenty of places to go and hide and build their little home and to wander about and to climb and web up. If you've given them everything, then they're going to be less defensive. They're going to be wanting to just sort of like be left alone, and that's all you got to do. Leave them alone. I mean, all you got to do, all they want from you is a supply of this wet stuff down there. They want some food. This one will be fed every 3 days, a medium-sized cricket. When it molts out a few times and got adult, it'll be fed once a week, a large cricket or a large red runner. I tend to stay away from mealworms, because a lot of the time by the time the spider gets to the mealworm, it's buried itself, and I don't want a beetle coming up in my enclosures. There we are. There's the infamous OBT, and his name's Walter, and this came from Russell of RS Designs, who wonderfully gifted me this amazing spider. What an amazing friend he really is, and what an awesome guy. Right, what I need to do now is what I normally do, and that is give a few shout outs on my video, obviously, for a few people, some YouTubers that I follow. I'd like to first of all give a shout out to, obviously, excuse me a minute guys, just closing that curtain again, Russell of RS Designs. Please give his channel a follow. Mark the Spider Guy, check his channel out please guys. Spider Mum 1978, Peter Webster, Unseen Universe, Incredible Inverts and Other Animals, Unusual Pets, Ellie's Bug Babies, Tea in the Deep Blue Sea, Inverts with Chaz, Reptile Innovations. There we go, look at that beautiful thing there. Reptile Innovations, check his channel out please. Brilliant channel. Moon over Miami, Tom's Big Spiders, Dave's Little Beasties, Tarantula Collective, all fantastic channels. TJ Tarantulas, check them all out. Anyway guys, once again I'd like to thank Russell for his beautiful spider. Thanks mate, I absolutely love it, it's beautiful. The little thing's making his own little, having a little wander around, which that's a great thing to see in it, a spider having a little wander around in its new home. Yeah, and I really love this Buddha head. It's got something to climb, and he can crawl in between there. He can web up down there and make a little hide, or he can make a hide there, or he can go behind this bark and sort of web all that up there if it wants to. It's got like everything it sort of really needs. Beautiful, beautiful animal. Anyway, guys, till next time, look after yourselves, look after one another, and I really hope I'll see you all soon.